Welcome back, everybody, to Simplexity Analytics Seasonal Report for September of 2024. We have a lot of markets this month, and a lot of them are on the bearish side. We only have one market that is the most bullish, and that is lean hogs. And on the bearish side, we have the three beans. We have soybeans, soybean meal, and soybean oil. We have three metals, gold, platinum, and silver, and we have all four of the stock indices that we follow, the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Russell 2000, and the Dow Jones. And in the currencies, we have one currency, the Swiss franc, that is the most bearish this month as well. So we will take an in-depth, closer look at the soybean oil heat map. We always do the S&Ps, and this month it happens to be the most bearish of the year, and we'll take a look at the Swiss franc as well. First off, we're going to have a look at the soybean oil market. September is the most bearish month, and when you see a number like this, 41%, that means a 41% success rate. So that means that 59% of the time, soybean oil has finished the month of September lower than it has opened. And if you were to short this market, then this negative $28,000 would be a positive $28,000 because you're short. So soybean oil, on the seasonal indicator, we see how last year, it was quite defined, this steep drop off. The year before that, not quite as much. The year before that, a little less still. And that correlates well to the actual price itself. A few years ago, it did have a drop in September. The year after, it did as well. And last year had a major drop off. It really hit its top, like kind of a double top, in early August and then late August before September hit, and then hit a big drop pretty much from then until current day. So let's have a look at the seasonal heat map of this market and see how it looks week to week. And here's the heat map for soybean oil for September. And this is a pretty easy one to decipher. We have the first week and the last week with bright red numbers, and that's what we look for. Middle 2 weeks, I'm just going to totally disregard. So on the first week, we do have a 100% day. So that's a real key one right there. This would be September 6th. On all September 6th in the back test, it has been accurate 100% of the time. 13 times in this back test, there's been a trade, and all of them have been successful. And we have a 91 and a 92 in here as well. So this is a good place to look for shorts in soybean meal. And we have down here this week as well, a lot of bright reds. We have a 91, two 91s here as well for trading days. And we have some 94s, which has only one loss out of 16 trades on days of the week. So this last week of the year, look for shorts in soybean oil. And next we'll have a look at the Swiss franc. The Swiss franc has a pretty dramatic seasonal for September. If you look at the indicator, look at the drop off right as August turns to September each year. Big drop after and during this month. September's have finished lower than they've opened 67% of the time, and shorts have made $25,000. And if we look at the price, a couple years ago, it had a decline. 2 years ago, it had a little bit of a rally at the beginning and then had a big decline last year as well. So this is a very bearish time for the Swiss franc. The heat map for September's Swiss franc is pretty straightforward. We're just going to basically avoid this second week of the month. That week has a bunch of greens in it, and we're looking for shorts in this month, so we're going to avoid those. The first week has a couple of bright reds here for a trading day of the year, which are decent. The first one especially has a really good return of 16,000, but we're going to focus our attention to days after this second week. So starting on the Monday after is where we're going to start looking for shorts. If the market presents it, then we're going to start taking shorts because we have good percentages, all above 80%. This down here, the very last day of the month, September 30th, has all four across the board as bright red. So that's a really good time to look for shorts. But maybe the best thing about this is that tells you that maybe we can get in ahead of that and get shorts here at the beginning of this last week, and maybe we can hold through, and this can be part of the same trade going forward. So we'll see how this pans out, but I'm going to start looking for shorts in this third week of September for the Swiss franc. And as we do every month, we take a look at the S&P E-minis, but this month is a little bit more special because September is actually the most bearish month of the year. 50% of September's finish higher and 50% finish lower. Where the difference comes in is the dollars. When it does finish lower, it finishes a lot lower. So if the bears start to take shape in September, get on board because you're likely to see a pretty significant decline. And that shows fruit in the seasonal indicator here at the bottom. We have the decline as September comes in. The decline starts to take over each year. Actually, it becomes a little more dramatic each year that this goes on. And in price-wise, a few years ago, we had the decline. A couple years ago, we had a small rally at the very beginning of the month, and then it fell off. And last year fell off the entire month of September and even into October before November hit, and then we went to new highs. But September is a very bearish month. And this is why it's important to look at heat maps, because if we were to look at the S&P E-mini on the seasonal chart, we think, oh, September is nothing but bearish. I'm going to start looking for sells right at the very beginning of the month and carry it on through. But that's not true. If you look at this heat map, we see that the bulls are in charge for the first couple of weeks. We have a lot of green numbers up there. It's a very bullish time at the beginning of September. But then the bears take over around the middle of the month. So right here at the beginning of the third week, kicks off a bunch of bright red numbers, both in the horizontal lines and vertical lines. So all in here, and then it peters off towards the end of this last week. So I want to really look for the shorts at the beginning of this week, September 16th, right until about September 24th, 25th. That's the time, if the market shows some weakness, that's the time I want to get in. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified on our next videos. Simplexity Analytics, making complex trading simple.